I'm Bill Addison, Eater's ever-roving national critic. My current destination? The Midwest. It's the nation's center, an enduring hub of transportation and trade, the nation's Silk Road lined with tracks of steel. Immigrant cultures, both long-standing and recent, nourish communities with traditional foods. Tibetan momos in Columbus, pork cooked in banana leaves in Chicago, fried fish fry in Milwaukee, and Dutch babies in Indiana. My first stop through the Midwest is Madison, Wisconsin. The state capital is a picture-perfect college town that stretches out over a thin isthmus. The breezes from Lake Mendota and Lake Monona can be felt year-round. Four Quarter brings together so many of the best elements of Midwestern food. And whenever I'm in Madison, I look up my favorite dining partner there, Kyle Nabilsi. He's a local food writer, and this guy knows where to eat in Madison.
What Four Quarter does is take that farm-to-table concept that everyone kind of ran with for a while and show what it really means when you're in an area where everything isn't in season all the year round. I was very excited when Four Quarter was first coming into being. There's definitely an ambition at work in the kitchen that goes beyond just sort of a corner bar kind of vibe. As Madison has become more of a market in the upper Midwest that people pay attention to, both for food and other business, the ability of Four Quarter and Johnny Hunter and his team to kind of capitalize on what people pay attention to about Madison and about the upper Midwest is really exceptional. They have sort of brought in the DIY aesthetic of a lot of hipper and bigger places around the country, but they do it because it just makes sense. And it takes advantage of what people have been doing in the upper Midwest for generations, you know, putting aside things through fermentation and preservation for the winter.
Just a short drive from Four Quarter, you can find Underground Meats, a butchering facility where Johnny and his crew create some of the finest charcuterie in all of the Midwest.
Me and my younger brother started an anarchist coffee shop where we made vegetarian lunches every day for people and kind of had a group of like volunteers. So that was the first professional cooking that I did. And we've since then kind of moved on into pretty much every aspect of the food business. When we started off cooking in the basement of a church, we weren't trying to turn it into a business. You know, it was more just a group of friends who cared about food and cared about where it came from. The first restaurant was called Underground Kitchen. We opened that in 2010, and then we lost that to a fire actually in 2011. After we had the fire in the restaurant, you know, we kind of rebounded. We started to focus on our meat processing almost entirely and our catering business with the idea of looking towards another restaurant. And that restaurant was a lot different than the original one. We really wanted something that was focused, small, in a neighborhood restaurant. So we went away from kind of the downtown square, opened in a neighborhood, opened in an old house, and opened a restaurant called Four Quarter in 2012. I think opening your first restaurant, you're always executing things like pretty poorly. At Four Quarter was really like a pleasure to open because like we had a vision and we're executing it and seeing the dishes that we wanted to come out happen. When we opened, you know, the idea was to be highlighting this amazing produce and product. And all these things are just like an expression of Wisconsin. And we try to like put that on our plate in ways that we care about it. And so what we did then was try to like create items that could both satisfy someone who's coming here for like a special meal or an experience, and at the same time trying to come here because they just live around the block.
If you're driving through the Midwest on a quest for great food, Madison is a rewarding stop that proves as delicious as it does beautiful.